Welcome to Why Your Business is Invisible Online, the podcast that connects businesses online with the people they want to serve. Joining me are my two co-hosts, and here they are.
I'm Jim Filatico. When I'm not helping my clients grow their businesses online, you can find me traveling with friends and family.
Hi, I'm Kelly Biggs, and I'm the AT alien of the group. I love hanging with friends and family, and when I'm not doing that, you can find me on Peloton. I've clocked over 2,000 rides so far.
And I'm your host, John Manatas from Oakville, Ontario, Canada, with my guitar in hand, my Wi-Fi on life support, but always in tune with my clients. Like our North Star for our program is connecting businesses online with the customers they want to serve. But one of the most important aspects of that is the website that we build for our clients is their foundation. And without a great website, even if and when we help you get found with some of the ideas we're going to give you, if that website isn't built properly, there's no point. Anyway, yeah, you're found now, but your website sucks. That's something we don't want to happen. And so I thought we would definitely take some time talking about websites, how we build them, our approach, our philosophy, some of the horror stories that we've had to encounter and the amazing feeling we get when we fix those horror stories and they feel great for clients. Let's spend some time talking about that because I think it's important before we dive into all the amazing ways we can help people get found. That's later. Let's talk about the foundation for a little bit. And I know both Kelly and Jim have built some amazing websites using a number of platforms because sometimes you don't get to choose the platform. Sometimes the client's already there and you're not going to mess that up. You're just going to work within that platform that you have in front of you. But yeah, let's talk about some of the stories around, how you approach websites, why you do it that way, the reasons. Let's talk a lot about the whys.
I think I ended up building a website for a client. I think I had two at the very beginning, but one was really interesting. So I'll take you through this. This is a wonderful, professional services is one of the areas that I really stick with. So this gentleman actually had built a really good accounting firm. And so, and he was ready to invest. He knew what it was that he was trying to accomplish. And so he had built this website, which was interesting because two things stood out. It was decent. It was decent. But when I went to it, I'm just unclear on what they want me to do. Right. And so we learned early on, and I can't remember, Don't Make Me Think. I'm actually looking at it now, the book that we got. It's called Don't Make Me Think. And it's pretty old, actually. But in that book, it says a website should really tell you three things when you get into it. One, am I in the right place? And I wasn't sure when I went to this website. Do I trust it? Again, I wasn't sure. They were really, 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 really into white space and being modern. And then the third was, do I know what to do next? Right. And so no was the answer to this. But again, this is my first time. So it's like the baby's ugly, but I can't tell them the baby's ugly. Right. And so that's fine. And they were like, look, I'm fine with my website. Like, I don't even want to discuss it. Off the table. Absolutely off the table. I need to grow. And I want to grow quickly. And so we did competitive analysis. Here's what you're going to need. We went straight to paid ads for this particular client. We did not start with the website. So as luck would have it, we ran PPC. And when we do PPC, one of the things that we do is to listen to the calls, right? Because we want their money to go far, right? So first ad they get, the client still called though. The client still called, obviously. And so they're on the line and they're like, I'm looking for an accountant and I saw your ad. I clicked on it. I got to the website, but I couldn't, I'm not even sure. I think they literally said, I'm not even sure you're legit. Like, I'm not even sure I'm not sure this is, anyway, what do you do? Right. And so he had answered the phone, whatever, still a client to this day. And it actually is a pretty big client, ends up being for them. But I was able to then listen to the call, and I was like, so what did you think about the call? And they were like, think we're going to need a website. Yeah, absolutely you do. Absolutely you do. But so now there's a client who's in love with their old website, but you know that there's things that they need in the new website to get them found, to get people to trust them, to get people to like them. They had, which most of my clients don't have, and you guys could kind of talk to it. They did have a brand identity. They had a tagline. They had wonderful colors. They had a great logo. And so they had done some work with a brand specialist. And so they really did understand who they are. But the problem was communicating that to the rest of the world. And so the struggle for me there was that, one, telling them that the baby was ugly. The other struggle was for them, because they were so in love with what they had, it was hard for them to see beyond that. They wanted a really modern website for something that people needed to trust you on. And so how do you do that? How do you build a website? If I'm looking for an accountant, it's pretty serious. I don't want you to be cool. I don't care if you are, right? I want you to do my taxes and do them efficiently and do them correctly. And so that's what we struggled with, but remains a client to this day. We were able to get through it. The website is amazing. I say that because I built it. But no, also we get a lot of results every month. Every month we look at it. But that to me, I don't know what components of that kind of stick out to you guys, but that's what I would say the kind of the challenge was for me, because it has to be you just got to imagine like you're on Rodeo Drive, right? And you want people to stop at your store. You want the traffic to come, and you want people to stop and actually go in and buy something from your store. So that requires both aesthetics and technical prowess to get both done.
So just a quick question on the website. Sounds like it's successful now, which is great. What have you put into the website to ensure that, okay, it's definitely not the ugly baby anymore, which is great. But what are some of the key things that probably you probably apply to all your websites when you build them? This is what are the key things you put in them to increase the chances and the probability that they're going to convert, that somebody's willing to leave their name and their number, and it becomes a lead generating kind of website that's really working for the client?
I'm actually glad you asked that question, because something stuck out to me that I think ends up being important here. So one of the things, and this happens with a lot of my accountants, for whatever reason, they don't want to show their face. They don't, right? And this one, there was a specific reason why this one didn't want to show their face. And that is, I'm not sure if you're aware of this at all, but the number of people who get a CPA in America, of that number, only 3% of them are Black male. And so there was some hesitancy from him to put himself out there like that, because he felt like people wouldn't call if they knew who he was.
Oh, okay.
And so we had a tough conversation about it, because I'm like, they're going to find out anyway. Wouldn't you rather somebody know, like, if you don't want to work with me because of the color of my skin, then that's cool. That's cool. And then don't work with me. And so interestingly enough, one of the things we did build an About Us page for him, and actually did some really cool things with social media with him, put him out there. And that's the second most visited page on his website.
Wow.
All right. Yeah. Because people, what do we say? Know, like, and trust.
Mhm.
You know, he's a CPA. That's a tough exam to pass. And so, you know, leaning into the human aspect of it worked very much in his favor. And he's a nice guy. He's just a nice guy. Young, you know, family, you know, has a beautiful family. We even put every now and then some pictures of him and his two beautiful daughters and his wife. We even told stories of some of the challenges that they had health wise. It resonated. It just really resonated with people. So
that's a huge point. I think Jim, you can probably corroborate this, but the About Us page, especially because how much people care about brand, and we know brand and trust go hand in hand. I think it is one of the pages that many people see as an afterthought. It's like, I know I have to have an About Us page, but one paragraph's good enough. Not really, not anymore. Most people who go on website, that's one of the pages they check out first. They want to know, who am I going to work with? What are they like? Tell me as much as you can about that person before I decide to do business with them. It's such an important page when it tries to project brand properly. People think, the brand's about the colors and the taglines and so forth. It is, for sure, but that's not enough. The About Us page is massive in any website, and I know I spend a lot of time in it with clients, trying to put as much as I can on that.
And people don't want to talk about themselves.
No, they don't.
It's hard.
Yeah. But even an accountant, I mean, you'd think, maybe for creatives, for sure they're going to talk about their About Us if they're an artist or something. No, it's for everybody. No matter how boring somebody's business is or that they think it is, you have to talk about yourself. And just like we just did. So,
lawyers don't tend to be shy about that.
No. We got to taper them back. Then you have a 10-page About Us section.
I agree with you that it's difficult with the About Us section. Just a comment is, I think that the know, like, trust thing is really important. And especially, we're really kind of talking about local services, local businesses, right? And so you want to know what you have in common. You want to know, where are they from? Where do they go to school? Those kind of things, especially when you're talking about professional services like this. So I think it's critical that you have that information there. And I think I know which client you're talking about. There's a lot of personality, and that's one thing that you can kind of lean into, is because traditionally it's kind of so buttoned up that someone with a personality is going to stand out. Right. Exactly. And you helped him do that with social media for sure.
Yeah. Hey, it was something that you mentioned there, Jim, when you talked about, and I'm wondering, could you lean into this a little bit? Because I think this is another, if you're talking local business, if you can show that you're connected to local businesses. I remember recently hearing a story about how somebody basically on their website, they have a whole page dedicated to, they decided to go sponsor a little league thing. They got really involved in the community, like to the point they're so involved. They made a partnership with the school, and like people from the school would go to their website to find out local events happening at the school before they did to them. So if you could talk about how just if you're local, being connected with that community really could help you with backlinks, with, not just that you're doing it, but how does it help technically?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it just builds your authority, right? I mean, I have realtors, I have title companies, I have mortgage brokers, attorneys. All of them have community involvement on their web pages, carpet cleaners. And when they do that, it builds that trust factor, right? If they see that they're part of the, Alzheimer's walk or whatever it is, that builds that authority, and it builds that community. So you automatically kind of add more trust and that kind of thing. And all of them have leaned into that, and they'll actually let you link directly to those associations or whatever. And that creates a backlinks technically, that helps out technically. But just somebody seeing that is a trust factor. And that, especially for local businesses, is really important and really helps. And a lot of times they they don't understand it, or they don't get the whole picture. But in many cases, they're really proud of the things they do. Where they sponsor different things or whatever, and so the more you can get them to talk about that kind of stuff, the more you can then add it to the website, and they may not get the whole story, but that's okay, because that's why we're here, right? So we can help them. I have a lawyer that I work with that he's more senior, closer to my age, I guess. Checked the box years ago, had a website. It was probably an attorney templated website that whatever he paid for it, and you just kind of fill in the blanks and it just shows up as a website. Usually when you ask any sort of service company like this, whether it's professional services or home services or whatever, it's a referral based business, right? They really rely on referrals.
Absolutely.
But as we all know, that's a very bumpy road, and that's not measurable. It's not, you can't target that. You can't plan for that.
You can't predict it.
Yeah, exactly. So they need help. And a lot of times they come kicking and screaming for that help because they're like, I'm a referral-based business. I don't need it. And so, you have that discussion. So this particular attorney, he's a one-man band. He has an office not far from his house. He basically said, I am having a tough time with the ups and downs of business, And so we had a conversation, what can we do? And I looked at his website and I said, well, you could probably use some updating on your website. It was pretty general. It didn't really have a lot. It didn't have the trust factors like we just talked about. It didn't have the connections and those kind of things. So spent some time talking with him about what he does, what he loves, who he likes to help as an attorney and that kind of thing. And so we developed a website that it's very simple, I guess. It's probably a 5 or 6 page website. He went to Marquette. So picture of Marquette was on his about page, right? It's something that's local to the community. It's 45 minutes away. He's involved in some different charities and things like that. That's on the website. There was a picture of him. I was able to get a picture of him, kind of leaning on a desk, looking lawyer-like, but a good picture.
Uh-huh.
And wait, Jim, stop there. Can we talk about how important it is for people to just go get a good headshot and a good picture?
Yeah, for sure.
And even with your team, even if you just spend the money, hire a photographer, come in, take some pictures of you and your team and your community involvement, just.
Oh yeah. And he did do that, which was very helpful, because sometimes when it looks like you did a selfie, that's probably not
at the club.
It's probably not a good look for a professional services type website.
Or they're to your point, older, and you're like, was this when you were in high school?
Right, exactly. Yeah, right. Yeah, you can't use your college.
That's what they do for dating sites.
Exactly. Like I said, when we built it, it's a very simple website, but it caters to the local area. It's laser focused on I think it's 4 services he really likes to provide. We didn't talk about generalities. We got very specific about that kind of stuff. And part of it is real estate law and specifically HOAs and those kind of things. And so when you have that on the website, other HOAs, when they're searching, well, that'll come up.
What's an HOA?
Homeowners Association. Sorry.
Homeowners Association. Okay. We have those in Canada too.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
So, and does he get a ton of traffic? No, but he lives in a small town and he's getting a whole lot more traffic than he was getting. Everything was convincing, but one of the things I had to convince him about was actually having a Google Business Profile and updating it. And people still don't. A lot of small businesses don't know the value of that.
That's a great point. Great point. Yeah,
and getting reviews. Mm-hmm. And so I have a tendency to really push that, and I offer to help people put that together. But it's basically filling out a an Excel spreadsheet almost online,
Right.
you know, with the information hours and times and all that kind of stuff. But
well, it can be more strategic than that. You're
for sure.
underselling what you do, but yeah, I get it. I get it. Yeah.
But I guess what I'm saying is just to start,
right.
get that information there and add a few pictures and stuff and make sure the website's linked and make sure you're, you know, now you can post social media posts, you know, on Google Business Profile. So all of those things help him. You know, we try to explain, and I explained to him that this is kind of the landing page. This is your home page until they go to your website.
What's the difference between a landing page and a website? What's the difference?
All right. So if you're searching for attorneys near me, you're going to see just the different links to different websites. When you click on that website, that's going to go to their homepage or their website. If you're doing advertising or you have a particular thing in an article or whatever, and you click on a link, that has a tendency to go to a landing page. Now, what you'll find is many small businesses' landing page is their homepage.
Yep.
And that's the wrong thing to do. And in fact, in this case, that's what happened with this guy. And I'm like, nope, because if someone's searching for HOA help, you want, when they click on that, you want that to go to the HOA page of your website, which then that ends up being your landing page.
Am I in the right place, right?
Yeah, am I in the right place? Yeah. Because when you come to somebody's homepage, you're like, well, hell, I was just looking for HOA stuff. Now I've got to look for it again. Why not just end up on the HOA page?
Right.
And then hopefully you have a call to action that says, contact me, fill out a form, whatever, call. So that's the difference.
Would you guys say, as a general rule around landing pages, the good ones anyway tend to be really specific about what it is you're trying to convince them, what you're trying to sell, and so forth. Whereas your website is, and your homepage of your website is your introductory page around the bigger picture about your business. It's your
almost all the things.
All the things, yes.
It's like top of the funnel, right? Yes, it's top of the funnel. And then as you get more specific, you want to get more detailed and detail-oriented. So that's why it's important. That's why it was important for this guy to have individual pages for each of the services. So that way you can talk enough about the services to become the expert. If you know, that's all about with Google is they want to know that you know what you're talking about. You're not a scam. You have experience. And many times they say, real estate law. And it's like, okay, well, what does that mean? Right. But that's all they'll have.
Right.
And so if you don't have that content in there that tells the story, then you're Google's going to look at it and go, well, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Right. So I'm going to go to the next website.
Right.
And so that's I run into that all the time, and you're almost better off having too much information than too little.
Not enough.
And very specific. And that gets into way deeper into website stuff because now we're talking about content and that kind of thing. But going back to this website, it was more about what do you like to do, right? What really makes you excited about coming to work every day, and tell me about it. Tell me why you do what you do, how you do it, those kind of things. Because again, Google is changing their algorithms all the time, and they're being more and more conversational,
helpful
with the
content.
Searcher.
Right.
And so making sure that you are answering those questions. And so that automatically kind of brings you up in authority. And you can have a 5-page website that ranks locally because you have that information.
And it's succinct.
So would you say that like, in a nutshell, what would you say is the part that you're most proud of? The part of the website that's converting for that lawyer the most? Like, is there a certain section that does best for him, or is it maybe, the way you designed it? What's getting, basically bottom line, what's getting that website to convert?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just being kind of geo-focused. So it was about the area and about the particular services in that particular area that, it's real estate law, it's business law, it's wills and trusts. Each one of those had a page, and each one of those now gets traffic to it for that particular subject in that particular area. So when you get that lead, it's very focused. And it doesn't mean you get the business, right?
Right.
And that's one thing you have to remember to explain.
Right.
To your clients is just because you got the lead, you still have to answer the phone.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Like Kelly was talking about,
and saying the right things.
Yeah.
And that wraps up another episode. My name is John.
This is Jim.
And I'm Kelly. Thanks for joining. Hey, don't forget to subscribe.
Thank you for tuning in to Why Your Business is Invisible Online. If you enjoyed today's episode, please do us a favor and subscribe and follow us on Spotify and Apple. Be sure to share it with other business owners who might find it helpful. If you want to dig deeper, contact us at ruinvisibleonline.com. That's capital letter R, capital letter U, followed by invisibleonline.com. Or message us on our LinkedIn business profile with the same title, Are You Invisible Online? The information shared in this podcast is for educational purposes only and should not be considered professional advice. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the hosts and guests and may or may not reflect the official policy or position of WSI Corporate. Always consult a qualified digital marketing expert before making significant changes to your online strategy. Until next time, keep connecting with the people who matter most to your business and join us for our next episode.